This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.
On your one now.
You could.
Hello everyone, and welcome. They're just talking about computers, I think.
i9 9900K.
Is that what you've got now?
Rated first out of 1,764 CPUs currently on the market.
Will
You
it
lost 99.
will it impact positively on your role playing or not? Just so
Will it
we know.
Yeah, or your bank balance.
It means I get to speak first because it's so fast.
It's so even before I actually say anything.
So when you say, what do you want to do? When they're processing that information through their computers, I'm like, I'm going to go straight in there.
Cool. So hello everyone and welcome back to Mythras fantasy setting tonight, part of the Odes campaign. The party recently took on a new job and they got a little way through it at the end of last week. So before I give you the complete synopsis, I'm going to allow the players, as always, to introduce who they are and who they will be playing, while I just make sure that everybody's level is nice for the recording. So, as always,
Don't say my name. Don't say my name. Don't say my name.
So, whoever's going to go first,
Say my name.
off you go.
Hi guys, I'm Chugawugga, and I play the character Gulliver. No surname, unfortunately. He's an orphan, not from this continent originally, but travelled across here with Hengist and a few others. His primary mission was to seek out new life. No, it wasn't. It was to find a sorcerer and improve his spell casting, because that's what he is. He is a sorcerer. He is currently in an order, the Order of the Kraken, which is one of the 4 sorcery orders on Odis. This particular one is the Blue Order, the Order of the Kraken, as I just said, and he specializes in spells involving around communication, transportation, and teleportation. He also dabbles in the folk magic school of spellcasting in Mythras. He refers to them as his cantrips, so lesser spells, not as powerful as his sorcery ones. He doesn't do melee combat all that much or much ranged combat. He is very good at judging people. Insight, influence, willpower, those are his fortes as well. As a sorcerer, he is able to shape his spells into how he wants to use them. He can increase range, magnitude, number of targets that they can affect, or even combine several spell castings into a single cast. And I shall pass on, because he's got his mic unmuted and he's ready to go, Mr. Pickles.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Pickles. I play Bartleby Fumus, who does have a last name like Gulliver. He is our group's theist. He gets miracles and special abilities from his goddess Amriel, who had saved him when he was back in his early parts of his life trying to be a bard. And through Amriel, he's able to perform miracles such as healing, energy handling, in the sense of if people get fatigued, Bartleby is the one who can solve it. If they get poisoned or diseased, or they need their armor repaired, Bartleby has miracles and small prayers that fall into the folk magic category that he can use to solve problems. Bartleby is not a fighter. He's very much easily frightened and easily bullied by thugs, considering he was attacked pretty brutally, now has mangled hands by thugs. He has a passion for monsters, history though, not an actual passion skill, but he loves learning about the lore of monsters, especially goblins, and is generally our group's best bet for knowledge of Lindo and Otis in that sense. He's also got a little streetwise, a little commerce, comes from a middle-class background. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Longshanks EPG.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pickles. Hi guys, and welcome. My name is Longshanks EPG, and tonight, as always, I'm playing the character Hengist. He is a noble warrior from across the sea, and he's currently recently brought himself into the gentry in Lindo as well, which is good at climbing back up that social ladder to get back to where he should be. He is the group's combat and general fighter. He's clad out in thick, heavy plate armor, which is embossed in green, and has a beautiful white stallion, which is also what his name means in his home language, emblazoned on the chest, and that's the same on his shield. He fights with, as I said, the shield and a longsword, and he's also recently repurchased a dagger to help him fight as well, because in a few episodes ago he managed to get disarmed and was just fighting against 3 or 4 guys with a shield and couldn't really do anything and couldn't do any damage because he didn't have a weapon. So now he's bought a second one. And he's currently trying to help protect this fancy guild master lady person from a bunch of assassins, and so far it's not going very well. And with that, because he's not paying attention and because it's last, I'll pass it on to Medivac.
Medivac! Thank you. I was paying attention, but I wasn't ready. I'm Medivac. Hello, everybody, and I play Hasra Khan.
Hello, Medivac.
Hello. And I've just realised where we are in the adventure, so see ya. I play Hasra Khan. He's the scout, go-to warrior below Hengist as such. He does the tracking. He does the survivalist. He's excellent at
Baking cakes?
Athletics. Sorry, the word was stuck in my mouth then. He's great with a short spear. He's great with a scimitar. He also is very stealthy and does like to climb and jump out at people.
And pull down.
Yeah. He also likes to go cooking and hunting. Yeah, and that's really it I'm going to say for him at the moment. There's a lot more to him, but I'm going to go on to him, Wills.
Okay.
You need to continue.
Thank you very much. I just put in the chat, as we say, Bartleby is not a fighter, he's a lover.
He is, we've seen it.
Levels.
He's not a fighter, he's a lover. So yeah, so the party have recently come back from an adventure, and they are spending some time in Lindo, the capital city of Odes, or the Odes continent. And after guarding a ship called the Herald, well, really goods on there, and defeating a bunch of thieves, the party have landed themselves a job with the local guild merchants, the merchant guild in Lindo. And basically every now and again the Guildmistress comes round and actually inspects the each of the guild's towns. And the Guildmistress is due in Lindo, or was due in Lindo, and the party have been hired to protect her. They have been required to protect her on 3 different occasions, or well, maybe 4. Her arrival, her stay overnight, her walk around the town, or the Guildmistress's carriage walk around the town, and then finally at the party on the evening. As you can see from the I'll just move the players there as well so they can remember. The party did some legwork. They went and talked to various people and got the lowdown of what actually was happening. And the Guildmistress arrived at the end of last adventure via this wonderful stylish cloak here. The little yellow crosses that you can see round about are where patrons of they're sort of like the footmen of the guild were stood. And then as she came out of the carriage and walked up to meet the lady, Hengist was there next to the guild, the person in charge of the guild here, and suddenly there was an assassination attempt on her. All sudden darts flew down from high above on the roof and sort of like peppered the air and various people. Now at this point I have to apologize because I allowed Gulliver to have an action last time, but then refused to allow Hengist to have an action. So anyway, I have consulted the rules more so now, and now I am fully up to date with the surprise. So just to remind players as well, if anything like this situation occurs again, then you do have an option to be not surprised by doing an opposed roll to the opponent's skill. So say for example somebody was creeping up on you, then and you were actively looking, or even if you weren't, then you would be allowed a perception roll at various grades of difficulty, and if you won the opposed roll, then you would actually not be surprised. What happens then is that as soon as those are rolled, there's allowed to be no more actions until initiative is rolled, because obviously if I take that, you then know something is about to happen, so you can't suddenly say, oh, I'll do this. So once the surprise rolls have done, and I will say at that point, right, can you roll your surprise rolls please, so you know there'll be nothing else. After that, if you fail your surprise roll, i.e. the people who are stealthing gets a higher score than you, then your initiative is decreased by 10 altogether. You cannot act until it's your turn, so you can't interrupt, cancel anything at all until it's actually your turn. And then for the rest of that round, you can only do defensive actions. Okay. The other thing is, if you are attacked by somebody who has got the surprise on you, then they automatically gain a special. Okay, and the classic example of this is that a lot of assassins have a combat style that includes kill silently. So what they can actually do is claim one special because of their role. You can't parry or anything in any case. They can then just use kill silently, which basically means that they put a hand over your mouth and then slit your throat or whatever, then that's it. So from this point on, that will be how we will play it as per rules. And it was, like I said, it was my fault because I didn't know the surprise rules, but I am now completely and utterly fluent in them. So
is it possible not to get an action if your -10 takes it? Say for example you have 9 initiative and you roll the initiative and you get 9, and then you've got -10. Would you not get an action, or would you always go last?
It depends how. If the -10 takes you off the initiative, i.e. 1 or less, if you get 0, then you literally have no initiative, and therefore you will not have any actions at all. Okay, until the beginning of the next round. And then the beginning of the next round, your initiative goes back to what it was. It's not re-rolled because we know that it's got a -10 on it.
Yeah.
And so it just goes back up for that. So therefore, at the end of last adventure, as the darts came flying down, Gulliver teleported the Guildmistress to his side, and if you remember, Hengist, some of them clicked into you but didn't penetrate your armor, and they penetrated into your two employers on the stand, and also the two footmen guarding the doors to the guild house. The other thing, just to remind you, is that I made another mistake. Last week was full of mistakes about this, and you've probably read it, is that that's not at the ground level. When I looked at the maps, it's actually at the first floor level, so you can actually get underneath that, but I don't think it impacts that much on what you would be doing in any case. So are you on this map? Can you see this map now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay then. So first things first that we're going to do is that you are going to go into a combat round. So if you can click your tokens and roll your initiative.
Big numbers.
Oh, almost in order. Okay then. So we'll probably say at this point that on 19 Gulliver, that's when your spell comes off, and you pull her out the way. And then let me just add. I'm just going to call them these, because obviously you have no other idea about what they actually are. So what we'll say is that there was a brief moment and Gulliver saw them or something, and then on 19 pulled them out, and then the darts are chucked down across the area. Some of them hit your breastplate and your armor, Hengist, but none of them actually go through and penetrate it. However, some do hit the other four people that are up on the welcoming dais or platform. Just to let you know, there will be some noise, Hasra, so you will still get your action on 13, because it's you next.
Hasra, hearing the commotion, will look down here and see people ducking and flailing, and then I will leg it down so I'm under the bridge as such. I will use a perception check if I can to see what's going on.
Yeah, so you can roll your perception. Yeah, so basically you sort of like come down and you can't really see exactly because there's two horses in the way at the moment, but you can see that there seems to be the people up on the platform are staggering around. They don't seem to have any visible wounds from where you are. They don't seem to be bleeding, but you notice that the two footmen by the door are sort of like slumped up by the door, and the Guildmistress in front of Hengist is probably staggering back into Hengist's arms, and the guy at the far end there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of blood or anything. And you can't really pick out the darts at all, but it definitely looks like somebody's almost like dropped some forceful thing and sort of like scattered things in all areas. Bartleby, you're up.
Just to confirm, did Bartleby see the darts go into the people up on this raised area?
Yes, yeah. So you saw several of them sort of like enter into the merchant crew, and you even saw some of them ricochet off Hengist They sort of like it was obvious that they were probably aiming for chests and abdomens rather than heads. And so you can sort of like see this guy here in front of you. I don't think you ever asked for their names or anything at the original meeting. He's sort of like staggered back. He's still upright, but he's sort of like leaning against the wall. And you can see that you're a little bit closer than Hasra, and you can see that he seems to have some almost like porcupine quills stuck out, and he's sort of like looking down at them.
In that case, I'm assuming there's not like a big railing on this raised area?
No, not at all.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and be brave anyways. I'm going to use my turn as a move action to get up to about here. And my goal is to be going up to next turn, perform the miracle to cure injuries.
Okay, then. That's cool. Hengist, you're up next. What would you like to do?
Okay, so Hengist would like to equip his shield.
Okay.
And then in doing so, he's going to bring it around in front of him and, if possible, the guild lady that's kind of like fallen on top of him.
Yeah, okay, then she's sort of like leaning up on you. You can see that she's got 2 to 4 of these darts lodged in her bodice. They don't seem to have hit any flesh at all, and so we'll nip back up to the top. So we combat round 1 still, so still the first 6 seconds, but second pass combat turn 2. Gulliver, you're up.
Okay, so Gulliver is still remaining concentration on his spell. He can speak though, so he's going to shout out, "Hengist, the door!" And I want to delay my action in case I have to do a reactive action for evade on my spell.
Okay then. There's no more darts that fly down at this moment. Just to let you know, because she probably acts before Hasra, the Guildmistress that we'll call her. I think you do know her real name, but we'll call her. Yeah. So Nimbus sort of like takes a double take. And she sort of like looks round at you, Gulliver, and she looks where she was and looks where she is now, and she sort of like connects it all with you, and she sort of like says in quite a gruff voice, "Who the bloody hell are you?" And we'll move on to Hasra on 13.
Right. Hasra, did you see anybody on the roofs?
No, nobody saw anything. Yeah.
Okay. In which case, he will just circumvent the horses to the dais over here, which will be his movement.
Okay. Cool. Bartleby, you're up.
Trying to decide, should I? I'm gonna ask if I can use my healing skill to address whether he seems like he's surprised or if he's actually suffering from ill effects from poison or disease or some disease.
This guy here, yeah.
Yes, our employer with that.
Yeah, and roll your healing skill.
Okay. I was hoping it'd be like a knowledge rather than minutes for applying bandages.
Yeah, he seems he seems to have staggered back against the wall, but the first thing that you actually notice is that there doesn't seem to be any blood. Whether or not these needles haven't penetrated him, you're not too sure. You can see them sort of like sticking into his sort of like his doublet and everything, but there doesn't seem to be blood oozing out from him when you look at his from your healing. He doesn't look like he looks like he's more shocked rather than injured or dying. Sorry, he looks like he's more shocked. Okay then, Hengist, you're up on 10.
Hengist is going to try and get this door open, so he's going to move towards the door.
Yeah. Okay, then, so just to let you know, as you pass towards the door, you notice that the two footmen that were on guard, you notice that they are slumped to the ground, and they sort of like had white doublet tops on, and you can definitely see the signs of blood in them. And you go up to the door, and it's a minimum movement, so you get there, you can sort of like open the door that will allow people to get inside. Okay then, so just what's going to be people's action? Gulliver, you'll be up next. What's going to...
So once Gulliver sees that the door is open, he is going to be cancelling his spell.
Okay.
So Nimbus will actually go back to where she was.
Yeah.
Up at the top of the stairs.
Okay. Cool. And then what's going to be your plan from then?
Once he's done that, he's going to be sprinting in this direction. Well, when I say sprinting, he's going to be moving as fast as he can with his gippy leg.
To what aim?
I want to get down to the end here so that I can see whether or not anybody is making an escape from out the back.
Okay then. So Hasra, what's going to be your next set of actions?
Well, Hasra's seen the Guildmistress over here with Gulliver.
Yeah, so he won't actually be there.
Oh,
She
won't because
yeah.
right. She release as I pop. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, in which case, Hasra seeing her disappear from there and reappear there, knowing what Gulliver can do, he will run up and put his body behind her.
Okay,
so when
then.
she moves forward, I'll be behind her.
Okay then, and Bartleby, what's going to be your action in this sort of like round?
I'd actually be out of action points.
No, you're sort of like in the next 6 seconds.
Bartleby's goal is to address who needs help, who's been poisoned, and he'd be turning his attention to the footman, hoping that the big boss man I don't have a name for is doing okay.
Okay then, and Hengist, what's going to be your plan?
So Hengist is going to move out of the doorway, and then he's going to shout to everyone, inside.
Okay then, so Gulliver, you sort of like head down there with your gippy leg, and Hengist, you open the door and sort of like order everybody inside. You, Hasra, you go near this woman, this Guildmistress, and sort of like put your body next to hers or in front of hers, and she sort of like almost like takes a second step back and sort of like turns to you and addresses you in the same way as she addressed Gulliver, and says, "Who the bloody hell are you?" Like this.
Your protection. Get inside.
Hengist sort of like ushers people inside, and the woman who was next to you, Hengist, sort of like the merchant lady, sort of like says, sorry, Mistress Nimbus, I think we need to get inside as quickly as possible. And she sort of like ushers people in. The merchant next to you, Bartleby, sort of like sees everybody getting in and sort of like looks strangely at you and sort of like stands up. Can you just make a perception roll for me, please?
Ooh, get some good rolls tonight.
Yeah, and he sort of like steps up and sort of like straightens his doublet, and you notice that the darts, and they're about this, if you're watching camera, they're about, nearly just about 10 centimeters, maybe a little bit more in length. And he sort of like straightens his doublet, and these 3 of them just sort of like fall down to the floor. There's definitely a clink. They were obviously metal, and he sort of like dives inside. These 2 footmen Both of them are on the floor, and both of them are. You can definitely see blood on their doublets, and as they hit the ground. You go past this guy here, Gulliver, and say again, sorry.
What's he doing? Does he look shocked or?
Well, he was sort of like keeping an eye out the way that you've run, and then when he heard the commotion, he sort of like looked round, and then you've sort of like limped past him, but he's not too sure whether or not you're getting away or not getting away or whatever, but he seems to be heading back to the actual guild house, and you do notice, Hasra, as you stand there, that the guy who was on the opposite side actually comes round. Bartleby, make me a healing roll, or first aid, whichever one you would prefer to do.
I would prefer healing.
Yeah,
I use a point of luck.
Yeah, you start looking over the guy next in front of you now. It's just to the left of your token, and you quickly assess him, and you don't these needles, these darts have not penetrated his skin significantly at all. They're not gushing blood. They have punctured his skin, but they're not to any great deal that would actually even really cause him to collapse. What you do notice, however, is that he is shaking and almost like fitting in some description. You also notice that his arms and his legs seem to have crumpled. As if they've given way as he's been hit. Hasra, you also notice that you're up there, that the person, the footman to the other side of you, is doing the same as well. He seems to be convulsing on the floor, not violently, but there's definitely some element of fitting there. And Gulliver, you get to the end of the tower. You can see that there's obviously been some form of commotion, and you can see that people who were round about and milling around, because it's about 10 o'clock in the morning, are actually sort of like coming up and looking round and sort of like saying, what's happened? What's happened? And you can see there seems to be quite a throng gathering round about, and sort of like you sort of like have a look.
Sort of like look up, see whether or not I can see anybody.
Yeah, just out of interest, how tall are you?
I am 153 centimeters.
That's less than 6 foot, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, so you're sort of like trying to sort of like look out at this throng of people.
What about upwards? I want to see whether or not there's people.
Yeah, make a perception roll for me.
Jumping over onto the buildings next door. I got a 40 out of a 61 standard.
Yeah, you sort of like look around. There seems the majority of the movement seems to be towards this area. You can't see, there's nobody jumping the roofs or anything like that. It just sort of like sees everybody's very interested in what's happening. Let's move back to Bartleby and Hasra.
With that healing roll I made, do I know if I have time to call upon my goddess to save this man's life?
And there's one way to find out.
I'm going to do it then. The miracle that I'm going to try and exhort from my goddess is Cure Malady.
Okay.
Intensity, magnitude, both 7.
Okay.
Here is my roll. Good numbers.
Yeah, so you cast your Cure Malady, your Cure disease or poison, and you certainly feel quite a strong poison being eradicated from this guild, this footman's body. Your magnitude, your intensity is like 7, which equates to about 70%. And just to let you know that poisons are absolutely have a potency in percentage terms as well. So, but they're just divided by the 10 to match it up. So, and you figured this this was a strong poison, maybe even a magnitude or intensity of a 6. You know, it's whoever tipped it with poison is not messing about. You do cure this footman, and he sort of like relaxes and stops fitting. Hasra, what would you like to do?
Hasra will go over to this other chap on the other side, and he'll start pulling the darts out of him.
Yeah, he's got about 3 or 4 darts in it. They don't seem to be penetrated that deep into them at all. And you sort of like pull them out. I would like a skill for this. And I think there is one. But I just wanted to... Is there...
Pull dart out.
No, I thought there was a sleight of hand skill.
Would it come under stealth?
No, yes, there is a sleight of hand skill, which is dexterity plus charisma, but it's a professional skill. So yeah, just roll your athletics. I just want to make sure that you pull them out and you manage not to touch anything, but you do notice that they're all being coated with some kind of black. It looks a bit like black tar from where it is now. I mean, obviously you haven't touched it or tasted it or anything, but there definitely seems to be some black, almost like treacle-like ichor on them as you pull them out. And as you do this, the footman in front of you sort of like looks at you and sort of like lets out, his eyes widen, and he sort of like gasps as quickly as he can for breath. But you notice that as he almost like opens his mouth to breathe, it's definitely some kind of paralysis fills his body, and not even his lungs. His chest is completely immobilized, and he can't actually breathe, and he sort of like struggles for breath for a few seconds, and then just collapses into he just slumps down. And you don't need a healing roll to figure out that he is deaded.
I'll shout to Bartleby next person. Bartleby, poison.
I had a bad feeling about that. It's something I've heard of in the streets of the city, trading these foul substances. Thankfully, Amriel could save this young man.
So Gulliver, what is going to be your action?
So, seeing that there's nothing there, he's within the crowd. He's almost like stopping, and his eyes close, and then when he opens them, they're sort of like wateried over. And I am casting this spell.
Okay.
And I'm looking for one mind, and the mind that I'm looking for is Hengist's.
Okay then.
So I got sort of like 150 meter range. I know the general area where he should be, but I imagine sort of like looking for it, and it's, you know, sort of like thinking what things Hengist would be thinking about, probably.
Needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to roll your invocation.
Oh, I didn't know, because it's two It's 2. Yeah, okay. I got a 67 out of 95 standard.
Okay then, so you're going to have to touch Hengist's mind. So the question is this something that Hengist is prepared for, or is it something that Hengist will resist?
It will probably be something
it's up to Hengist, yeah.
Hengist is unaware of Gulliver's ability to do this, so he's probably going to... And he's on high alert, so he probably would be resisting.
Okay then, so you need to roll your willpower. Yeah, and you try your hardest to sort of like you feel this presence in your mind, sort of like touching your mind, and you immediately think about haunts and nasty things that have happened to Bartleby in the past, and you frantically try to sort of like shut it out of your mind, but without any success at all, and you suddenly hear Gulliver's voice coming into your mind.
So Gulliver will say, "Hengist, it's me, Gulliver. The roof, Hengist."
Gulliver, what do your eyes look like now?
They're sort of like wateried over. Do you know, like, so that they're not? There's no sort of like pupils or anything like that. They're just sort of like, it's just like it was like almost like a lake. Do you know, sort of like a water effect?
So for people looking at you,
looking directly at me, yes, they would see it.
Yeah, and is it pleasant or not? Is it something that somebody might, a woman might think, "Oh my giddy aunt," and scream at? I'm not too sure how intensifying it is.
Well, it's not sort of like a harsh thing, but yeah, I mean, if you look at somebody and
but it will look like you're.
It could even look like I'm possessed.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
to
Yeah,
somebody.
so all of a sudden, you know, you hear somebody I won't scream down the mic. You hear a woman who sort of like catches your eyes and sort of like looks at them and sort of like thinks, "Oh my God," and she goes, "Ah!" like you know, at that.
Kill him with fire!
At that point, as they sort of like, and you notice, you have no perception in your when you're telepathy, do you?
No, I do. It's my.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. So
other sense.
So you see that, and you see sort of like people backing away, and there's a young child there, and the mother sort of like physically turns its head towards her aprons and sort of like hugs them, and men sort of like stand in front of their women, sort of like puffing their chests out. This is almost like a guild area, so it's not as if there's weapons out, and somebody sort of says, "Come no further, you foul demon," as if that sort of talk would actually stop a demon in its tracks. Let's nip back to Hengist, who's been inside for a while and has just had Gulliver speaking.
So Gulliver has sent this message. So Hengist is going to give a mental sort of like, got it, understand, on way, and then he's going to be running towards the stairs inside the building.
Okay then, so
he's trying to get up to the roof.
Yeah, well let me.
So his run is 15.
Yeah, okay then, so let me just do this. And let me just, I'm just prepping what you can see, because you will be inside. So I'm putting you all on the map because I can't separate you out. But really and truly, the only person who can see inside is Hengist. So hopefully you can see a little bit, and that's it.
Yep.
I just need to hide that part as well. Yeah, so you can, just so you know, I'll quickly just explain things to you. This obviously is the exit out. There's a door here, a door here, a door here, a door here, a corridor out. So that's actually a corridor. A set of stairs, and these are pillars next to it, if you can see that. Seems to be various benches, and then this is a fireplace that is it has a fire in it. Just as Gulliver speaks to you, mind, and you sort of like come back round, you notice that the woman Nimbus is sort of like talking quite harshly to the two merchants, and you sort of like get some catch some of the conversation, things like she's never been so manhandled in all her life, how dare they treat her like this, this will prove to be very detrimental to her report that she makes. And she seems to be going on. The two merchants are sort of like saying, of course, Mistress Nimbus. Sorry, Guildmistress Sweet Flame. We are very sorry. We were not aware that this sort of thing ever even happened in Lindo. And she seems to be giving them quite a berating. What would you like to do?
So Hengist is going to look for the stairs. As soon as he's seen those stairs and he's had Gulliver's message, he's going to be running up the stairs.
Okay,
he's
then.
Trying to get to the roof.
So you sort of like start running up the stairs, and you get roughly nearly up to the top when the Nimbus sort of like she's sort of like berating these people. Then all of a sudden she sees you running up the stairs, and she looks up at you and she says, "You here now."
He's probably, to be honest, he's probably not going to stop. He's probably going to carry on going upstairs. He's trying to get the. He's assuming that there's someone up there that was causing the assassination attempt.
Okay, then. So you carry on up to the second floor. Just roll me a perception roll for me. Yeah, you sort of like hear as it's going up. You hear sort of like this Guildmistress Nimbus saying how dare they how dare these people employ things that do not take orders, this, that, and the other, and they're getting a definite complete and utter dressing down at this point. Hang on, and I will just prepare you. While this is happening, let's nip back to Hasra and Mr. Bartleby. What would you like to be doing?
My goal is to get the footman I saved is still unconscious, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be life-threatening at the moment. He seems to be more. I'll just move you back so you can see. He seems to be more almost like comatose. You do sort of like. Do you wish to check him over with your healing?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think Bartleby would probably check to make sure there's no additional injuries.
Okay, then. So just roll your healing skill.
And before I do, the goal afterwards would be to get him inside and hopefully asking Hasra to help. Here's my healing.
You could probably take minutes if you wish.
I will.
Yeah,
Gotta be thorough.
Yeah, so you sort of like check him over, and Hasra, are you going to help get the? Are you going to help Bartleby get him inside?
Oh gosh, yeah, that was Hasra's main goal, was to tell Bartleby to let's get him inside. We need to be undercover in case he's back again.
Okay, so when you sort of like, oops, hang on a minute, I just need to remove Hengist out onto the grass. Yeah, you sort of like check him over, Bartleby. You notice that the majority of his limbs have been paralyzed, and you notice that when you sort of like lift up an arm, it's all floppy. You think it's the remnants of the poison rather than the poison still active. And you notice that he is breathing and his pulse is roughly normal. It's slightly elevated, but you figured that you probably got it just in time. And there was probably a choice of to save one rather than both of them. And between you and Hasra, you can sort of like get the other footman inside. So let me just, because I'm going to put you on, and we're going to zip back to Gulliver. What would you like to be doing?
So once Gulliver has sent the telepathic message to Hengist, he closes his eyes briefly, and then when he reopens them, the pupils and iris are back, and he sort of like sees the people sort of like looking at him and sort of like trying to protect their wives and children, and he's going to say in a voice that sounds confident and reassuring. He's going to say, I'm from the Order of the Kraken. And then...
Is that it? There was going to be some really detailed explanation. Roll your oratory skill. Do you know, Mr. Pickles, we were talking about this. This is a golden opportunity for oratory skills. You can augment it with you can augment it with your passion for the Order of the Kraken.
Yeah, auditory is a professional skill. I don't have it.
You don't have it. Okay, then. So so the difficulty a little bit be higher now, but you can roll your influence.
If only you guys would do sermons like Mr. Bartleby.
And can I augment that with the Order of the Kraken?
Yes, yeah, you can still. What all that happens is that if it's cascaded down, the difficulty goes up. Right. So it might have been, say, an easy with oratory. Well, it might be a hard because it's cascaded down.
I'm going to use a point of luck to swap those numbers around, giving me a 15.
Yeah, and you sort of like announce it, and you it seems that people are not. You don't think you've convinced them. What you think you've done is almost like preyed on their the unknown, and you hear some people, but not loud enough to maybe other passerbys sort of like here. You sort of like some people are saying, oh, that's all right, he's just one of those Orders of the Kraken, and while other people are sort of saying, bloody sorceress, they can't even keep their eyes in one place for half a moment. But they seem to be backing away. They still hide their children and sort of like move them to one place. Let's now dash up to the upper floor. For people who are watching the stream at the moment, just to let you know, anything that is blacked out of the map, the players can't see. So you will be able to see a lot more on the stream. But if I just go to what Hengist can see, this is literally all that Hengist, as in the character and the player, can actually see on the map. So you come to the top of the flight of stairs. As you can see, there's a door to the east. There's two doors ahead of you. There's a door right the way out to the west, and there's a door to the south as well. They look like gaps, but they are all doors.
Okay. So Hengist, having got to the top of the stairs and seeing all these doors and thinking these are potential hiding spots, is going to slow. So he's going to slow from his run to a walk, and then he's carefully going to move to the first door to the north, and he wants to reach out and try and open it if it's not already open.
Yeah, just make for me a perception. Yeah, nice one. Out the corner of your eye to the east, as you move across to that door, the one in front of you, the door to the east, you suddenly hear that it's opening. It's not been opened quietly or anything. It will swing out into the corridor and up to the north, if that makes sense. That's the swing of it. Yeah, what would you like to do? I think
he's going to pause in what he's doing, and he's going to try and turn towards it if he can.
Yeah, you have your shield, but
it's on his left arm, but he's going to be sort of like turning at the waist. He's not turning round. He's just sort of like twisting at the waist, so like he's gone like that sort of thing.
So you're just looking round.
He's just looking round. He's just looking to his right, to the door to the east.
Yeah. So you just sort of like take a quick glance as this door opens, and what walks in is what appears to be one of the footmen, a guild footman, not one of the ones outside, and he sort of like steps into the corridor and says, "Excuse me, what are you doing, and why are you in this building?"
I've been employed by the Guildmistress here. There's been an assassination attempt outside. The assassin could be in the building. I'm checking the rooms.
Yeah, influence him, please. Or deceit. No, influence.
Influence? Okay.
Yeah. Because you're not telling a lie.
Yeah, I'm going to use a luck point and re-roll that, because I can't swap it. Yep. Not to be.
Another one, and it would have worked if it was going down by 4. He says, "I know nobody who's been... What assassination attempt? I suggest, young man, that you leave here." He's a bit like... what's Batman's... butler called? Alfred. Yeah, he's a bit like Alfred. He sort of like says... You need to go down straight away. This is not the place for armoured personnel to be walking around, shields ready, in random rooms. I have no idea why you're in here. It looks like you're going to... Maybe you're the assassin. And he sort of like takes a slight step back as he says those words. And so he's actually blocking the doorway to the east now, and it's your action. What would you like to do?
He's just going to turn to face the steward, and he's going to say, "I'm not the assassin. I've been employed to protect Mistress Sweetflame. She's downstairs. There's a number of dead and wounded downstairs. I need to find this assassin."
Yeah, your influence roll has failed, so okay. It's more. I mean, every time you try now, that if you want to roll it again now, then that's absolutely fine. But because you're repeating a skill, the difficulty just goes up. Another thing, so you can either roll your influence again, or you can take an action. It's completely up to you.
He's going to try one more time to influence after that speech.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, you do notice that the doorway at the far end, the one to the west, from there comes a rather gruff voice, and sort of like says, you hear this almost like elderly man, rather gruff, says, "Keep the bloody noise down! Some of us were out till 2 o'clock." And the guy sort of like the footman turns around and says, "Sorry, Sir Percy, there appears to be some kind of infiltration of the guild house. A man in armour is trying to check out all the rooms." And we'll nip back down. Gulliver, what are you going to do once?
So Gulliver's once he's sort of like given the explanation to who he is going to start pushing his way. If there's a crowd that sort of like appeared in between him and the entrance to the guild hall, he's going to start pushing his way through those. His idea, he wants to try to get to the corner, and he wants to be looking up to see whether or not they're using they've used the balcony thing, the walk over on the first floor.
Oh, you mean at the front of the building? Yeah. Okay, then. So you walk round to the front. You can't see. There's nobody on that walkway at all.
You'll be also looking up to see whether or not you can see anybody.
Okay, roll a perception roll for me.
Up on the right up at the top of the roof. I got a 13 out of 61.
Yeah, you can't see anybody or anything at all. It seems to be quite void of people round the front. Even when you get round here, there's the dead body, and there's the two footmen that were at the north and the south of the guild house, so sort of like round, and they're bringing in the dead body, Hasra and Bartleby, and you see Gulliver outside, and we'll move to Bartleby and Hasra. So you're in this room, and the first thing that actually shocks you is the berating that these two merchants are taking from this Guildmistress. No matter how much they try to apologise, she's almost like a dog with a bone. She is just constantly saying this, that and the other, how pathetic they are, how this is going to let all their the whole of the guild order down, and how absolutely dreadful it is that they've employed people that do not answer to her, and how dare they employ people who actually ignore her, and so forth, so that. And then you hear the conversation at the top of the stairs, where Hengist is, and you sort of like hear the interchange between him and the footman, and you hear the Nimbus sort of like says, "Do you normally allow ruffians to dart around this guild hall? I always thought this was a safe place. Obviously you allow people to just run around with gay abandon everywhere." And then you hear Sir Percy's voice, and you hear Nimbus says, "Oh, and I see Sir Percy is here and awake. Oh, what joys beset us today. Do you?" And the other two are just saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so. Yeah, the two are bringing the other guy in, and they bring them. Can you see that door just to the south of you, Hasra? They bring the person in to that. Where that seems to be some kind of bed, and they take the person that you cured. As well, Bartleby, and they sort of like take them in there, and they lay a sheet over the dead one and put the rested one on the bed. What would Hasra and Bartleby like to do?
Hasra, hearing this woman berating his employers, he's a little bit like, we just saved her life. So he will walk over to her and say, "Woman, desist this, just be silent. These two people have saved your life today. If it wasn't for them, you would be dead now. Like that man there, that poor man who died for you."
Yeah, and
So, you're shouting at these people because they saved your life. Why?
Yeah, and you sort of like shout this out, and the whole room goes silent. And the Nimbus sort of like looks at you, but the worst glare is from your employers, who sort of like look around to you, and they seem to be in the state of shock, rather than anything else. And the Nimbus turns to both of them and says, "You better deal with this outrage." And she sort of like heads off down this corridor down here, and disappears round the corner. We'll just go straight upstairs to you, Hengist. What would you like to do?
Angus is probably going to start going downstairs now. He's thinking if the assassin's there, they've gone by now. There's no point trying to find them. So he's gonna make his way down the stairs, and he's just heard the Hasra's berating of the guild lady as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
I've moved you to the top of the stairs. And Bartleby, sorry, what would you like to do? I heard Hasra's action, but not yours.
I had a plan.
Cool.
But Bartleby probably was going to stop Hasra, but Hasra moved too quickly, and Bartleby's a little slow. With all that noise, I was planning on muttering a prayer of calmness, perhaps, but since she's not within eyesight, I don't think I can do that anymore.
It sounds like Hasra might need the spell of calmness.
It does kind of seem like that.
He is more used to talking to horses and goats.
Women should know their place in the tribe.
Bartleby's off.
Women should know their place.
He's turned from Russian to northern now.
Sorry, Bartleby, what's going to be your plan of action?
I think Bartleby's going to just stay quiet since a lot of outrage from our employers is on Hasra, delaying just seeing what things happen, because he's not about to open his mouth and get yelled at.
Okay, Gulliver, what's going to be your plan?
Seeing that there's nothing in there, Gulliver wants to look for where he's seen. He can't see any of these would-be assassins. He wants to be heading in.
Okay, let's. I'm just moving everybody slightly so I can get Gulliver's token in. So hopefully you're all on the same map at the moment. Yeah. And yeah, so you sort of like come in, Gulliver, and you hear Hasra's reprimand of the Guildmistress. And as you walk in, and Hengist, you come to the top of the stairs, you see Nimbus sort of like reprimand the Guildmistress, the guilders, and the merchants, and sort of like disappear down a corridor. Everybody roll an insight roll for me.
Critical for Gulliver.
Bartleby made it. Hasra made it. Oh, everybody. So Hengist, you just sort of like come down and think, what's going on. The rest of you look at the woman in particular. The guy seems to be looking at the woman and almost like looking to the floor. And you definitely sense that the woman, the merchant, your employer, is somewhat fuming about the the interaction between you as their employees and the Guildmistress. She seems to, Gulliver, you with your critical role, you can actually sense her shoulders almost like shuddering.
Gulliver's sort of like doing the thing when, do you know when you know that you've got to be looking at somebody, but you're trying not to look at them, like sort of like looking at him at the corner of his eyes and trying to look for something to do, so that her attention doesn't go on to him.
Yeah.
Oh, the tapestry needs finishing.
Yeah, so Hengist, you appear at the bottom of the stairs, and you three are almost like stood there like naughty boys, it's sort of like in a line and sort of like looking at the floor. Yeah, any of you can act.
Gulliver's going to he's going to go up to Bartleby and say, Bartleby, perhaps you should go and explain us to her. You're good with women, and after all, we were just trying to help.
Yes, I'll handle this. I'll take a step forward, and looking at the lady, I'll say, I apologize for how things went down here.
Bartleby, I meant the Guildmistress.
I think we should, looking back, I think we should handle the situation first.
As you sort of like, you walk towards the guild, the merchant, the female merchant, and you sort of like take that tentative step towards her and start to talk. And as she starts to talk, she just goes and puts one finger up and then slowly retracts it to her own lips. And you sort of like think, make an insight roll.
This lady needs Amriel in her life.
Yeah, you get the distinct impression that wake not a sleeping lion, for want of a proverb at this point. You sort of like tentatively take a step back, and the female, it's exactly like it is now. There's just this silence, and you, Hengist, you're at the top of the stairs, and there's this footman behind you, and you just hear him go, a bit like Devil's Wears Prada when she's figured out that she's done something wrong. He's just sort of like going, and
Angus has just got one foot hovering as if he was going all the way down the stairs. He's heard the stuff in the silence. He's thinking, do I want to go downstairs?
Yeah,
do I want this chap behind?
And the feet.
Gulliver just sort of like looking round, and he'll go, I think I'll go and check the horses.
Yeah, and you sort of like the female guild woman and the merchant sort of like looks at the man, and it's almost like something passes between them, and it's as if this situation might have happened before, and she sort of like leaves in the same direction as the guild mistress does, and he sort of like turns round and addresses you all and sort of like says, I think it might be better if you leave and return tonight to continue your yes, your guarding. Don't worry. I will do my best to calm both the ladies. But yes, I'll do my best. Maybe return at about 7 bells. So that's like 7 o'clock at night.
Do you want us to call the guards? Because Hengist has probably apprehended the would-be assassins. How many was there, Hengist?
And Hengist, you just hear from the footman as all like, and then he goes like, yeah, by all means, answer Gulliver.
Angus is going to start going down the stairs, and he's just going to say,
dragging his sword behind and going clink, clink.
like head hung in shame, with the sword just dragging behind him. No, so Angus is going to walk down the stairs, and he's just going to give a slight shake of his head to Gulliver and say, "I didn't find them."
You've actually, just move the whole map inwards. You've actually, I think, hired this room. Was that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to move everything back to where I had it. Oh, there you go. So you sort of like head out to that and sort of like almost like settle down and decide and start to think about. Also, I've just plunged you into darkness, haven't I? My fault. You sort of like decide maybe what to do or when to do it. For what is that on that layer in Mars?
We've only got sort of like a small square of black because you've still got the filter on for us.
Yeah,
So we can't see the whole thing.
No,
That's it. We can now, yeah. But we're in, yeah.
I'm just popping you. I'm just going to put you. Where did you go?
I moved myself into it, but then I think you moved it because you grabbed everybody. So you'll have to. Oh, I've gone completely.
I'm just putting you in there so we know roughly where you are. I can bring you back on again, don't worry.
Well, once we're in there,
No.
say,
The size of Gulliver.
she's not very nice, is she? I saved her life. She could have been dead like that other man.
I agree, Gulliver. A woman in my tribe who spoke like that would be lashed. But the city folk are different.
You know what they say: save a man's life, and he'll hate you forever.
I sure hope not.
I think you've saved my life, Hengist, and I don't hate you. You
Don't-
can be a bit slow
like-
sometimes, but I don't hate you.
Well, there's always exceptions to the rule.
Do you think it's too late to change sides and maybe we could kill her? No, I'm joking. I am joking. Just not joking.
Our enemies have very powerful poison. I think we should be concerned. I think they must be professionals.
Would a poison like that be easy to come by, Bartleby?
I'm not sure I would know. I've never tried to purchase these things. I've only heard rumors. People have helped in the lower portions of Lindau, but it was powerful. Unless it's something that's common to this land. Would Bartleby know of any animals with his locale skill, perhaps, near the land? Like if there was a common scorpion with a poison that's powerful?
Yeah, you can roll your locale.
Cool. Locale.
Yeah, you. This sort of poison does not. It's not natural. There's nothing as powerful as this you know of. It's definitely been manufactured. probably distillated, concentrated. Hasra sort of like mentions the treacle like on the darts that came out of the other guy, and it's definitely been a case that is being applied, and it's very viscous and very thick, and obviously it needs to be it needs to actually get into the bloodstream to actually work, rather than just by touch. You don't think it would actually paralyze by touch. It's definitely needs to be get into the bloodstream.
Anybody who could get that kind of poison certainly would have access to other powerful poisons. We're going to a dinner party. I think we ought to be very careful about the food. Wasn't there a dinner party?
Yeah, so
there's a party tomorrow night after we've shown up.
correct. Yeah,
Right.
I think we should concentrate on what we're going to do. I'm concerned because it's obvious that they're either very good at their jobs as assassins, or maybe they have somebody who's working on the inside because they've managed to get onto the top of the guild house roof. And I've had a look. There's no way round the back, so they've either used magic or they've climbed. And we all know that climbing's hard.
Good evening, my friend. Why do you think they went to the guild roof? Because the guards, the page at the front are facing outwards, and they were shot in the chest. So if there's somebody on this roof, how could they, unless they had a dart that could go out and back in again? They must have been on the roof above us, or the roof across the street there. That's my thought.
Oh, you obviously had a better angle than I did. I was just watching the Guildmistress. I was the one saving her life.
No, I did not see what happened. I just saw where the darts were. They were in the body. They were like sticking out of the body like this. And so I'm assuming they came from in front of them rather than from behind them. Am I wrong by saying that? They were in the front of the chest, were they?
yeah, they were.
Yeah. So yes, they're in the front. They could not have come from the guild roof.
What was if they were looking up like that?
Well, that would be a very good job for a guard. Got a page. Unless they were praising Mecca.
In your Order of the Kraken, Gulliver, is it possible for somebody to do your swirly ball maneuver and
Swervy ball? Come on, Gulliver, show Bartleby your swervy ball maneuver.
Is it made out of glass?
I'm not with you, Bartleby. Do a swirly ball and what?
to the water to take a weapon like an arrow. You draw an arrow and you cast your sorceress intentions upon the arrow in the bow. You shoot the bow and arrow, and then you cast it into another area, so it appears to come from somewhere it didn't. You could. Is that possible?
No. Oh no. You could probably do it with a spell, but
Not a physical object.
I don't think so. But they seem to be many of them.
That would be a lot of sorcerers. You're the only sorcerer I know.
Or the sorcerer could be unconscious somewhere.
There were the people or the person that I checked. There was 3 to 4 darts in him.
Why are we thinking that it's a sorcerer? If it was a sorcerer, they would have just blasted them with a spell or done something. Done something with their insides, like making their blood boil or sapping their strength or their constitution, so that they withered and
Gulliver, let's have the description, please.
transmuted them into sand, so that they just.
Hasra nightmares again.
Hasra nightmares. I won't be sleeping well tonight. Bartleby, I would need a calming from Amriel tonight, perhaps.
Understood.
So, what you're saying, Hasra, is that you think that they weren't on the roof of the
I do not see how it is possible for them to be in the roof, because if I shoot a deer from behind, I hit it in its back, not its chest. Do you understand? Because if they're on the roof above, where they're using the blow, whatever, however they get rid of the darts, then they would have to be in front, clearly, because they were in the chest or in the stomach or in the abdomen. You know, it cannot go in a. Yes, it's impossible. So they would have to be in the building we are in, or in the accommodation across the way. You know, the one with the bridge.
There must have been a fair number of them as well, because the number of darts that are on there, you could probably only throw, what, 2, 3 at most?
I agree, Hengist.
At the time.
If it was just one attack, I totally agree. There must have been one person per dart.
But then surely that number of people for that number of darts, it would be hard for them to hide, even inside or on the roofs of any building.
Maybe it's
Did any of you see? I didn't see anyone, but did any of you see any people running around from the on the roofs or in the windows?
I saw that when I came from my place of where I was up at the top there. Gulliver, did you see anything? Given you saw the darts coming first, which is why you masterfully brought the woman to you to save her. Which, you know, in hindsight, but you know, did you see where the darts came from? Did you not see? You saw them coming in, the darts. So
see the darts coming in. I just had this feeling that something was going to happen, and I already had the spell ready to cast, so I cast it.
Oh, right. I understand.
Seems like your instincts were right, Gulliver.
Well, we were there to protect her after all.
Well, yes.
I didn't think. Well, I didn't think it went too well.
Well, she's alive, so it went very well.
Yes, but now look, well, we're not exactly. I mean, she obviously doesn't like you at all. So you're not going to be able to get close to her, and she doesn't like Hengist because he disobeyed a direct order from her. So he's not going to be able to get close to her, and I don't like her, so I'm not going to be able to get close to her. So that only leaves Bartleby.
Remember, Bartleby's not a fighter. He's a lover.
It's only Mr. Bartleby we can't let near her in case he entices her with his manly
No,
power.
he's taken a vow of chastity now.
Yes, for now. Until the next one.
Okay, that seems to be because it's 8:30, so it's time for break time, which is a good place to leave it, I think. When we'll come back, it'll be time to hopefully protect her for the evening, from the night. You will have a bit of time before that if there's anything that you would like to try to do. But yeah, we will take a quick 10-minute break and then we will be right back. So go and grab yourself a drink, pardon me, and some beverages, and we will be back in 10. See you soon. I will put us live. Here we are. We are back. Back and ready for the next part of the adventure. Just a quick recap. The party have been hired to protect a visiting guildmistress called Nimbus Sweetflame. She's already proven herself as a very... how would you describe her?
Abrasive.
Abrasive, yeah, abrasive. She's certainly living up to her reputation that was communicated to you in the first instance. Luckily, she has just survived an attack when she left her carriage and tried to get into the guild house. The characters are keeping an eye on it as they decide about their plan for the evening, because once she retires, the group is expected to protect her while she sleeps. So that seems to be a good point for you to start your discussions on. Great.
So we go back out there to watch for dart throwers who will pick us off one by one.
I'm not much of a tactician, but I think it's important that we have somebody on the roof.
It might be a good idea to try and get someone on the roofs. We should also have someone who can look at the first story walkway between the guild house and their main bunk room. We would need sightlines on that door as well.
They won't let us in to get on the roof.
I can probably protect that with magic.
That's good. So but who will be able to do it when we replace it for the replacement for Gulliver? Because we're still doing half the night each, aren't we?
I'll just have to. Well, even if I'm asleep, it will notify me if somebody crosses the threshold. I think it's important that we have somebody who can get in there straight away and quickly. Because if she does get attacked, we need somebody in there, Hengist.
That's true. I wouldn't be able to, I'm not in my armour, I won't be able to climb up and scale the wall or get onto the balcony.
Maybe just going through a doorway rather than
Sorry.
I had this vision of you receiving the alarm and just running with shield in hand and just not even stopping for the door, just going straight through it with your shield, with it splintering, and all the assassins looking round and you giving a battle cry and putting yourself between them and
Gulliver's been reading too many fiction books.
As they were all coming at you and you were just there like a rock protecting her. I don't know, maybe Bartleby might be able to do it.
Yeah, I'll wave my little club around and they'll be real fun. I mean, I should be the one following brave Hengist or swift Hasra in so that I can apply my goddess's protection while Hasra or Hengist slays the foes.
Could I just interject here, whatever that means? But are we not employed by the guild, the merchants, to potentially who have the? Are they not allowing us into the premises so we could protect the building through the night?
I think they've made it very clear, and especially the Guildmistress has made it even more clear that she wants us round her.
You could probably send someone in to smooth the way.
Maybe not send. Maybe we should send Bartleby in there to talk to the lady. Maybe if he could use the powers of Amiel
Do you
to...
know, yeah, Hasra, I was just wondering how, I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking, okay then, how would Bartleby feel about that?
Yeah, you just need to go there and exercise the demon that's inside her. It's as simple as that.
I was waiting for Hengist, by the way, earlier on to say, "Get out of my mind!" That would have been fun.
It's the Quizzer
Oh, excellent film. Better book, though. Frank
Oh,
Herbert.
God, better book, yes.
Frank Herbert, wasn't it? That wrote
Was
Dune.
Frank Herbert. All
Yeah.
of them were Frank Herbert. Brilliant books, all of them.
Yeah.
I've not seen the film.
The film isn't that good,
Yeah.
but...
Get them on audio book if you can.
I've read the first one. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I've read the first
Dune.
book. And I've got the second one on my bedside table to read.
Children of June and Emperor of June. Or is it? It's Emperor of June. Is it?
I love the way she has that poison needle on her finger when he's
Yeah.
doing the test of putting it. He goes, "Do not move."
Yes, that's right. This is the John Gibbar where it's.
Yeah. Jumanji. Yeah, so somebody could go in and smooth the way. I'm sure that would be a suitable way. I mean, you haven't. All you know is that you left a rather tense situation. Whether or not
Might have been. She might have just been. Maybe
Shock.
she was just using her anger to cover up how frightened she was, because it must have been very frightening for her knowing that somebody had tried to kill her.
That is very true, which is why Bartleby should go in, maybe to talk to her in a more subtle way.
Yes.
They did say for us to come back at 7 bells.
Yes.
Just me.
I'm happy to go with you, Mr. Bartleby, as well.
I would be happy to have somebody behind me in case I start getting hit
maybe
by...
somebody who could augment the role. That might
Bartleby just wants some confidence behind him.
I mean, just to let you know, you're not being deceitful, but it will require an influence role to sort of like smooth things over.
So Angus's plan is, if he's going with Bartleby, he's going to try and sort of like on the walk over, he's going to be giving him some polite words, some phrases that the gentry use that he could sort of like maybe fit into his little speech.
Okay, then. So is Hengist and Bartleby going off to do this? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hengist, what is your influence
He was-
role?
Well, my influence roll is 40, but I was hoping I could maybe use my courtesy, which is one of my professional skills.
Well,
So-
no, not.
Really?
It would have to be influence at this point because you were trying to convince somebody to do something. And
Your courtesy roll was the one that you should have done last week when Gulliver was asking you about how we.
oh
should-
yeah,
and you just took it upon yourself to tell us.
well, that's true. Did you say something like, do I need to bow when I go to the mistress or something like that? Yeah.
No. What should I call her? Just call her Guildmistress. Call her wench.
Okay then. So Hengist's influence is
So you want
40.
to- yeah, so it's 8, isn't it? It's 20%.
Yeah. Yes. So Bartleby, you need to add 8 to your temporary roll. Bartleby,
Alright.
is there anything that you are going to do at all to try to adjust the difficulty of it?
I don't think people want to just have some like a priest come in and start praying at them. I feel like that's usually a bad thing, even if it's a good thing in the end. So I don't want to go in and just start calming. That might be seen as an attack. I don't think I have anything that would help augment. I don't think we can do 2 augments anyways. So I guess Bartleby would just go in with the argument of, however clearly it comes across the influence roll, the argument that
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't going to allow you to double augment. What I was, say for example, and don't do this now. Say for example, you had showered her with a gift, or brought her something nice, or offered to change the rules of the employment, something that would butter it up. Then instead of a standard roll, I might have made it an easy roll, which would then have gone down to a very easy. So you can't see Nimbus, but you can see the female merchant who employed you, and or the male merchant that employed you. When you enter, the footman sort of like says, who would you like to see? Who would you like to see?
the lady of the house that hired us.
Okay then, so the female merchant, and you sort of like get sat on the benches and or gestured to the benches in that same room as you were some time ago, and you notice that after a while a rather stony faced female merchant enters the room, and you both sort of like quickly stand up, because not out of necessary courtesy, but you think it's probably the best choice at the moment. And she sort of like walks up to you both, and she says, "Yes."
Well, I don't think she wants to see my candles, so I'm not going to offer those.
Yeah. Do you want to see my candles?
A common candle for you? No. I would say we have returned as was requested, and I thought it would be fair to apologize for the rough nature of my cohorts. They have a tendency to rub people the wrong way sometimes, and they get the job done, and they keep people safe. We kept at least one of the footmen safe from the unknown assailants, and hopefully we will be making progress in finding out who they were. And that would be Bartleby's apology.
Okay then, roll your influence augmented by 8% from...
Big money. Big money. So, big money.
She sort of like looks at you, and when you mention your colleagues, she sort of like flicks her eyes to Hengist and then back to you, and she sort of like looks you in the eyes, Bartleby, and you notice that she's calmed somewhat, and she's sort of like taking everything on board, and she says, you are most humble, priest. I can see that you understand the ways of how to address and how not to address not only the females, but also perhaps your employers. I am willing to let the outrage of your colleague to go unpunished at this moment, but, and she raises a finger to you, you have to tell your colleagues very clearly what I am going to say to you. I, in no circumstances, ever, and when she says ever, her eyes do widen and her eyebrows go up, never, ever, ever speak to the Guildmistress in that way, because the repercussions will definitely be not only within your payment, but also your general reputation to the guild and all its commerce within the town of Lindo and far, far beyond.
Understood. I completely Understood. Would it? I'll let my cohorts know, of course. But would it help at all to apologize personally to the Guildmistress, or would it be best for her not to see my face?
I think it is best just to leave her. She is perusing the documentation of our buying and selling. I will only allow you, well, you can probably guess how thorough she is going through the documentation after the outburst. Let's just hope that she finds everything in order.
Absolutely. If I may ask before I make leave here, my more combat inclined allies expressed a potential concern about the safety of this building. Would it be possible to get roof access or access to the walkway for one or more of my friends?
She sort of like looks at the male merchant who's just sort of like hovering at one of the doors, and she says, "Your time will be limited. We do not want you to run in to the mistress again." And she sort of like clicks her fingers, and the male merchant sort of like comes obediently trotting up, and she says, "Show them what they wish to see." And he sort of like says, "Oh yes, of course. Did you want to?" And she sort of like heads off, and the guy sort of like says, "Just you two, or are you bringing your friends in? It is probably safe now. Both of the ladies are well and truly occupied."
I'll glance at Hengist to answer.
That's very kind of you, but I think we were rather hoping to have access to the walkway at some point during the night, just to ensure that no one untoward gains entry to the barracks, rather than checking out the security of the building. We can, of course, take up position after the Guildmistress has retired and leave before she makes her appearance in the morning, so she would not know that we would be there.
He sort of like looks puzzled for a while, and then just says, "Yes, of course.
It's just,
The walkway is," and he gestures to. He sort of like, you've actually seen the door that goes onto the walkway. So as you go, the door that the footman came through, up at the door top is the door that leads to the across the corridor, the floating corridor, into the other house. That's where it is.
Okay.
So hang on, I think it's still, yeah. So this is it here.
Yeah.
Should be able to see it. So I can, if I do that, then that's the walkway. And of course, at the far end, although it looks like there's nothing there, there is a door here. Okay.
Okay.
And he sort of like shows you the walkway as you've requested, and then he sort of like says, I think it would be best if the mistress will retire about near to 8 or 9 bells. It's probably best if you return at 7 bells to make any preparations that you would like to make. But please do knock and wait. We don't want another clash of the titans, do we?
Of course not. Bartleby here, my colleague, has already extended his apologies on behalf of all of us. I can only reinforce that.
And he sort of like,
we'll make sure it never happens again.
He nods and sort of like says, "Oh yes, no problem," and then takes you back, offers you the door out, and you both walk out and go to the a house opposite that you have rented or taken up residence in. Yes. So, what will be the plan at 7 o'clock, i.e., when you get in, and then what will be the plan for guarding? Where's everybody going to be for the guarding? Any spells being cast or anything like that, so we can get that sorted?
Do we know what time the Guildmistress is going? Because this is where she's staying, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so do we know what time? Was it 9 o'clock about the time she was going back to there? But basically, Gulliver wants to.
Bartleby and Hengist can answer that. They were in there.
Okay.
It was sometime between 8 and 9 bells.
And did you manage to get access to the walkway after she had gone after she had retired?
That won't be a problem.
Okay, so Gulliver wants his plan as far as spell casting goes is once.
I'll just move you to this map so you can see.
Okay, so once people have retired for the night, he wants to cast an alarm spell in front of that door there.
Okay.
But also on the other map, I think there was another set of stairs going into the sort of.
I was just about to mention that on the east side.
So again, which map are you on, Si?
The main plan showing where we are. So that I think there was another set of stairs going up to a doorway about there.
Let me just. I know which one you're on now.
That's it. So yeah, here.
Yeah.
That's another stair. So Gulliver's. There's nothing down here. That's like another. Are these two separate buildings? Do we know, or is it all one big building? Oh, for some other reason, my element of the Kraken just.
No, I wanted to use it. I thought it'd be really nice to use it.
All right, so I closed it down.
I thought it'd be really nice to use it as the.
All right, yeah. I just thought. I thought.
Yeah, you did use it. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. What? Just repeat what you were saying.
So Gulliver's plans is to put one alarm ward on near the doorway. Into the barracks into the residential from the walkway, following Hengist and calling it a barracks, and also one on that one there.
I can't decide which one I.
Oh, I like that. I like that one. I like the squid.
The one on the white.
No.
Or the
token one.
The token one.
Token one. Yeah. Although that might get a bit confusing to people.
No, it's not because it's on the map layer. So.
All right. Okay.
So one there. Where do you want the other one?
These are stairs as well going up.
Yeah, those are going to the entrance to the first floor.
Right. He wants.
It's all ground floor.
Yeah, he wants one. He wants one there as well. So, as far as we know about the layout of these buildings, is this a separate building to that?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So they're right next to each other, but it's complete separate building.
Okay. So, as far as spells goes, those are the two ward spells that he's going to put up once that she's actually in premises. But he wants to do something else, and he'll probably do it. He'll probably do it from this building, maybe looking out of the window, and when he sees her going across, is it lit, by the way? Is it got sort of like
the walkway is? Yeah.
Once he sees the Guildmistress going to retire for the night, he wants to project his sense, and he actually wants to follow her in. And he wants to get an idea of the layout of the inside, and so he knows where she is in the building.
Do your alarm spells need concentration?
No, they don't. I'll link the alarm spells will go after the project sense. So I'll link the alarm.
Okay, so that's why you're doing that. What about the other three? What's going to be your plans?
Well, Hengist for his shift. So when it gets 7 bells, as we were told by the chap from the guild, he will appear and knock politely at the door and wait. And then when he's allowed in, he will take up, if he's still allowed to, take up position on the guard position on the walkway, to look after that entrance as well as the.
Sorry, on the walkway.
If that was allowed, then yes.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. That set off Gulliver's alarm spell, though.
No, Gulliver's alarm spell isn't going on until she's crossed the
Yeah,
wall.
I know, but Hengist has said that he's going to once she's in, he's going to take up position on the walkway.
All right.
Oh, I thought you were doing it on the door of the walkway, not the actual walkway itself. If you're doing it on the walkway itself, then
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, will it cover the entire walkway, or can I just do it on the?
Well, if Hengist is there, there's no point having an alarm on the walkway. Do you get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying as a character, but there's also things like people drawing other people away as a distraction.
Well, Hengist can either stand on the walkway, and in which case, like what Hasra is saying, you wouldn't need an alarm spell there, or you can leave the alarm spell on the walkway, and Hengist can take up position
Right on the roof. I thought Hengist or somebody was going to be on the roof of the guild building.
No. On the actual roof of the where they're staying.
No, Hengist can't do that. He will fall through the roof.
Oh, that would be so funny as she just gets into bed and just goes,
hello, I'm here to save you. And my name's not Bartleby.
That's why we're leaving it to the person with the head of the panther and the one who can climb and the killer instinct person.
I have no idea who that is because my thought to Mrs. Jaguar.
What were you thinking of?
Well, I was going to be outside in this bush here, watching this side door here, which you've already marked as you said you're going to cover. But failing that, if I could possibly go on this roof between the gables here.
Yeah, that if you're going to, because you might notice the design of the roof here. There's no flat part. It's all coming up.
All,
yeah.
They're like which is brilliant. So I can just sit there and just or perhaps by the chimney here.
Yeah, you can sit either here or propped up by the chimney.
So that was my plan. Either outside watching this back door, which you noticed, which now I do not need to cover. But my only problem is if I'm here at the chimney, I can't get in. Well, I suppose I could come down here and jump onto the bridge and run through that way. So yes, I will be up by the chimney.
Okay. We'll put you up there and we'll make climb rolls, etc.
You can't do that. I'm already there.
In a while. And is the Hengist? Are you going to be like on? Let me just move you because you're in. Is this where you're going to be?
No, Hengist will be on the walkway, but he'll be on he'll be on this side, so as close to that the door to the main guild house as possible. So it's not in the way. And then we can always put the mark spell on when we change shifts.
Okay, so the alarm spell is not visible, correct, Gulliver?
Correct.
Okay, then.
Unless somebody uses magic to.
Yes, so something like witch sight. So is the idea you're just sort of like...
Gulliver's going, well, as we're discussing the plan, Gulliver's going to say to Hengist,
don't be on the walkway. Be on the other side, in the guild house. Stop people going through the door. Asking them what they're looking at doing. Question them. Find out what their intentions are.
Okay, that's fine. I can do that, Gulliver.
If my alarm spell goes off, I'll contact you via the way that I contact
Get
you.
out of my mind!
But this time, open up your mind. Let me in.
Perhaps you could
No, you answer that, Bob.
announce your presence beforehand so that I know it's you. Because if you can do it, other sorcerers might be able to.
I'm not being funny, Hengist, but how am I supposed to? Do you want me to come up to you and tap you on the shoulder and say, Hengist, I'm going to come into your mind and then enter your mind?
Surely you could not. Why couldn't you not, as you arrive at my mind, however you,
Politely.
yes.
If you feel some, I'll just come in. Don't worry.
Okay, so we've got...
Hello? Is anybody there?
We've got Hasra perching himself, up next to the chimney for the night, I presume. And we got 2 alarm spells. We've got Hengist, in a sense that I'll pop him onto. He's technically there, but inside. Yeah. Which leaves Bartleby and Gulliver. What's going to be your plans?
What should I guard, you guys?
say again?
What should I be guarding with my club? Rattle my stick against the wall.
I think it's important that you're able to get to her as quickly as possible in case they get past Hengist or Hasra, and your pairs of armorial are needed.
Yeah. Should I take Hengist's shift throughout the night? When he is.
But what happens if the place gets attacked when Hengist is asleep?
Unless Bartleby joins me, and then one of us can rest and one of us can be on duty by the door all night that way. And we don't have to keep opening and closing the guild house door.
I'll leave it to you to decide.
I'm willing to sleep on a hard floor if you're willing to, Angus.
Would be the first time.
So is the idea that Bartleby and Hengist is going to swap watches halfway through the night, yeah?
Yes.
Hasra, what's going to be your plan? Is the plan to stay there all night?
Yeah, well, Hasra's used to sleeping in odd places when he's out and about, so he can sleep in a tree normally when he's there. So his whole idea is to primarily stay around the chimney stack, but he also wants to be walking, or not walking, crawling around each corner of the house. So he wants to be looking over here, he wants to be looking over here.
So you're going to be sort of like crawling around the top of the house. So just to let
and
you...
he's going to trust to his own endurance to be able to stay awake and do the night.
Okay, so
just done it before.
Yeah, just to let you know, as you're moving around, you would have a choice. If you want to do it quietly, then you would need to roll a stealth roll to make sure that's. But there will also be the requirement of an athletics roll to actually stay on
on the roof.
On the roof, yeah. So Hasra's going.
Does Hasra do a recce of the roof first, or is he just gone up there?
No, we'll have a look around and see what the best angles are anyway. That's the first thing I would do.
Okay, so I'm going to put Bartleby up here with Hengist. So
is there any access from the roof into the dormitory? I'm calling it a dormitory.
Which dormitory are you talking about?
The living quarters.
No, what I have to do is jump down onto the bridge.
Yeah, there's
So
no
there's no access for Hasra. There's going to be no access for would-be assassins.
correct. There's no sort of like, I think this is what you're asking. There's no sort of like roof light or any way to actually get in.
It's
No.
obviously been up there then.
Well, not really, because where do the attacks come from?
That's fine.
Okay, so we've got Hasra up at the top, moving around, keeping silent, etc., etc. We've got Hengist and Bartleby keeping on the inside of the door throughout the night, but who's probably splitting the shift half and half. So one person will do the first one. Who's going first, just out of interest on that?
I'd like to go second.
Okay, so
Because that'd be the best time to worship Amriel quietly.
Okay then, alarm spells will be set, and then Gulliver, what's going to be your plan?
So, as you said, as she goes across, Gulliver wants to use his project sense, and he almost wants to follow the entourage in.
Yeah.
And get a general layout of the room, of the inside and where she is. You know, whether or not she goes to the a room on the northeastern section. Once he's done that, he's going to come back to his body, and he's going to set that ward spell. And then he's going to come through and he's going to set this ward spell. And he's going to then tell Hengist and Bartleby whereabouts she is in the building and how to get there. Sort of like go through the door. She's at the last room on the left-hand side.
Okay.
So that they know whereabouts she was left.
So can you roll for me, please? 2 alarm rolls. The spell will come off, that's not an issue. It's just that if it's a crit, you won't lose the magic points, but if it's a fumble, you'll lose more. So I'm not really fussed. It will go off. It's just whether or not it's going to be a crit or fumble at any other side.
So that's the spell that I'm doing.
That's
the first one.
fine. So that one comes off without any magic point loss. Because it's a critical roll.
Yeah.
And then you need your project sense. Again, this will come off, but we'll just see whether or not it's a fumble or a crit.
Okay. So that's the spell.
Yeah.
Well.
So that's fine. So you lose magic points for the first one and for the for the incantation.
Can I just ask a couple of questions about the project sense, because it determines how many magic points I'm going to lose. So the first thing is how long is it going to take me to do it?
Well, you're just having a quick glance around the room, aren't you?
Oh, well, I'm just following her through.
Yeah.
And
So I mean, it's going to be like 10-15 seconds, isn't it? It's only going to be you just sort of like following her through, then taking a quick glance around at things.
It's going to be two magic points. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so just to let you know, Gulliver, that it's literally one huge bedroom. That's all it is. The bed is actually over at this side, and the rest of the place is things like a desk. Obviously, it's got a fireplace near the chimney. It's got some kind of recliner, like a chaise lounge and things like that. It just seems to be one big stylish bedroom.
Okay.
There is a lock that you notice on the door, and once she's in, she does lock the door from the inside, and she takes the key. Just make a perception roll for me, please. She actually puts the key underneath her pillow, and then she starts to get ready for bed, and you obviously whereabouts are you?
Were there any windows, by the way?
There was windows at the back and the side. There's no windows here,
But they're shuttered.
They are shuttered.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question out of character? Are the stairs going down to the next level?
Me?
Who you asked?
I didn't check.
Okay.
Okay, so you sort of like come back, you can see Hasra up on the roof, and you sort of like exchange that piece of information, and then you come down. So Hasra, just roll me your athletics to climb up there. You're going to make it, I just need to make sure that you don't fumble. Yeah, so that's brilliant. You're up there ready for the night to sort of like sleep through. Just to let you know,
I'll say to Hengist and Bartleby that it was. I'll relay the information and tell them that the alarm spell is there, and that I'll also explain to Bartleby, because I didn't realise he was taking a watch, is that if the alarm spell goes off, I may warn him, but in his mind. So if he feels somebody trying to enter his mind, it will probably be.
Okay, and whereabouts is Gulliver going to go then?
He's going to go back here.
Okay, so as a side point, these streets are not like the slum streets. There are lanterns in various places keeping it lit. There are areas where there's probably can be some shadows, so people can hide, but not very well. You also notice, or Hengist tells you, that there is a patrol of the city guard around this area. Probably they'll pass once every 2 hours. Especially at night. So, but there is that happening. The other thing that you will be aware of is that the outside door, Hengist and Bartleby, is actually locked from the inside, and a bar is sort of like put over it. The bar doesn't look that strong. You think it's more of a deterrent rather than anything else. You know, it doesn't look like it can be. It doesn't look like it would hold against a ram or some kind of heavy force on it. You also notice that the corridors are still lit in the guild hall, and which means that you are able to access. However, there is all the doors are shut. You do figure out, Hengist and Bartleby, that if you remember, there's a door round about here that enters into a storeroom that is here, which actually has those stairs going up.
How long is that walkway, by the way? Is it to scale at the moment, or
it should be? Let me just. Yeah, it's about 6 meters.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, right. So, night. Who was taking the first? Was it Hengist?
Hengist was taking the first watch.
Yeah. So Bartleby, you probably just stay in that room. You can find somewhere to lie down on the floor or something. You're quite used to sleeping in impoverished. Is that sounds?
Impoverished.
Yeah. Places. So you sort of like snuggle down on the wooden floorboards, and then that's it. Okay then, so the first thing I need Hasra to do is that I need your athletics roll. You can augment it with your stealth, and how taking the whole night, okay, from the start of say 10 bells through to the sunrise at about 5 bells in the morning, how many times are you going to patrol round?
Probably just twice, to be quite honest. I'm more going to be putting my ear to the tiles with my feet against the chimney stack while listening through the room, hopefully to the room below me.
Okay then, so let's do your moving around for both. So roll your athletics. You can augment it with your stealth.
Which is
No, actually, no. Hang on. It needs to be the other way. Yeah, stealth or augmented. Yeah,
it wouldn't make a difference, to be fair. But so that's going to be 14 on top of my stealth.
So just make your 2 rolls.
Yeah, here we go.
That one's fine.
Second one.
Yeah, so you just to let you know, going round, you're doing it quite stealthily. You're not knocking any tiles off at any point, and you're throughout the night you'll make your 2 sort of like rolls. So how many times are you going to be stopping, listening, and putting your head towards the tiles?
Oh, muted. Sorry. I'd like to think that whenever I go back to the chimney stack, so I'll do that twice, and then for the rest of the night, I'll be just down there with my ear to the tiles because they're a good. Yeah, it will carry sound hopefully.
Yeah.
So if I just rest there, like that ghost sleep in a sense.
Yeah. Okay then. Yeah. So roll your perception for me, please.
So, oh, I definitely would like to use a point of luck, please, sir.
Okay.
And that's why.
Okay, so that's your first listen, and you don't hear any noise from down below at all. It seems to be quite quiet. You said that you wanted, so you've made your first round now. Did you want to stay here and keep your ear to the tile to listen?
Yeah, well, before my second round, yes.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I'll just let them go. That's fine.
Okay then, so you sort of like settle down. You sort of like keep your ear to the tile, but you can't. You sort of like listening intently, but it seems to be quiet in there, and seems to be very deathly quiet. Could you roll your initiative for me, please?
That's the worst roll I could have ever had.
Right.
No, the worst roll when he says, and take 10 off it.
Yes, and take 10 off it. Right.
It will be.
Surprise!
Here we go.
As an owl comes whistling.
Oh, don't go on the roof. I wish I'd taken that advice.
Okay then. All of a sudden, you're sort of like listening intently to the tiles, keeping an eye out and an ear out. When all of a sudden you don't necessarily hear anything. The first thing that you feel is a knife attack. You're not expecting this to happen. You're quite stationary, so it's almost like
it's I'm a prone target.
yeah, and so I will actually have 2 specials on it. The first one I will choose is that I will choose location, and the second one I will choose is max. Is max damage a critical?
It is, yes.
I will use therefore. I will use.
Youngest. That answers so fast.
Yeah, yeah.
I know the rule. It's one of the few I do.
So left leg bypass armor. That's what you're saying.
What?
No.
Left leg
Hand.
bypass armor.
Foot.
The arm that he's holding on the roof to.
Yeah, so I will just my feeling about this is that I'm going to take this dagger and plant it.
You do my back of my throat.
Yeah, well, no, he's pushing it straight into the back of your chest, while having a hand over your mouth. So he's going to push it really deep, and in a sense that will be his
max damage.
Yeah, his impale. As he goes in, he doesn't have a crit, so he can't do max damage, but he'll roll it twice and take the top one. So this is coming into your back.
Can I just go back and use my luck point? No, I'm joking.
So let me just see what I get. That's 4. So that'd be a 4. Hang on, because there's some more to come.
That's additional. Yeah.
Yes. So all of a sudden you feel this dagger carefully placed between your shoulder blades, and it just sort of like goes. It's almost as if he's got his hand behind it, goes like that.
But he can't have, because he's got his hand around my mouth.
Yeah, and you'll take 1, 2, 3. You'll take a total of 6 points of damage in your back. If you've got armor on that, it will absorb that. And just tell me what you are at.
I'm at 4.
Still positive?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, okay then. So you feel this come in, and you sort of like arch your back and sort of like have a look round, and you notice that it seems to be some kind of ruffian. He seems to be quite stealthy. He seems to be balanced very well on the parapet between. He's got one foot sort of like wedged up against the chimney. He's got like a black mask on and everything, and he as you look around, he releases you and the dagger, and he then it looks like he's trying to get something from his belt. Now you can't roll on your 2 unless you want to take a defensive action.
No, you're right. I mean, the only defensive action I could take is possibly I would bring my spear up just to ward him away, possible.
Well, if you're up there with your spear as well, then you can use that to parry his
whatever is incoming next.
Yeah. Okay then. So let's just pop him on, so we know monsters. There we go. So we know whereabouts he is. Where are my what lizard men? I'm sure I had assassins.
Ruffian.
Yeah, they're just like that. They're like ruffian. Oh, bandits, they're called. Okay then. So this is going into the next round. So we are. I just need to up him a bit so I can add his.
Just trying to point to Hasra. While that was happening, you didn't hear a scream or anything. You maybe heard a little. A little.
As it went, yeah. A little trickle.
A little growl as he went. As the pain went through him.
Yeah. Okay then. So this is combat round 1 still, but we're at turn 2. And this guy, you're sort of like arching back as the dagger's in. He finishes getting something out of his hat, out of his coat, folds of his ninja gear, and you just make a perception roll for me. just to let you know, I did roll just to make sure he didn't fumble on his roll.
It's a rabbit.
Um,
Rabbit and goes,
yeah, he is. You're sort of like, see, because it's quite dark up here. There is a bit of moonlight, etc. He seems to take something. It doesn't seem to be that big, and he reaches over and he drops it down the chimney, and just on the edge of your hearing, you hear the smash.
Oh no.
Of glass, and that's his action on 19. So you can now act on 12, Hasra.
So free action, Hasra will shout, "Get her out of there now!"
Okay then.
And then he will thrust his spear, if he can, from where he is.
Okay, yeah. So so your combat. I don't think you have.
I'm going to be one step higher anyway, aren't I?
You certainly are, because I think. Let me.
You impaled me.
Yeah, well, you're going to be one step higher because of the impale, unless you want to pull it out. But the other thing that you'll be another step higher for is that you're not on stable footing.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're. They will not. It'll be formidable. Your thrust.
Hasra has seen he needs to stop this man from getting away.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah, you sort of like ram your spear straight into this assassin, and he sort of like sees it coming, and as it sort of like shoots towards him, he tries desperately to bring his hand up, and he sort of like knocks the shaft out of the way, and using one of his points to parry it. So what I need from you, how big's your weapon?
Well, medium.
Yeah,
it is medium. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. So therefore, my arm will be. I think my arm classes as a small. If it's unarmed. Which page is that unarmed combat on? Because it's in monsters, isn't it?
yeah. I had visions of Hasra sort of like just launching himself and just grappling him, and then both falling down over the roof, and then Hasra just making an athletics roll. Just
grab onto the drain pipe. If I was on my back, I probably would.
What's Gulliver's size?
I am
Not your actual size modifier.
8.
8. Yeah, so it's classed as small, so therefore because it's done on my size, and that's how I'm not that big, so that would be small. So you need to roll your damage, and I will take half. So hit location and then damage, please. That's in his head. Yeah, and then and some damage, please.
Sorry, I muted it. Well, short spear damage is going to be anyway.
5 points of damage. Okay, then just 1 second. Ba, 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 ba. Head. How much was it? Sorry.
5.
5. Yeah, you sort of like slide it in, and you feel it. It seems to get caught in some kind of padded armor, and you don't think you've got a clear blow on his head, and it sort of like slices through some of the padded armor, and you do feel it make contact, and as you pull it back, you do notice that your the tip of it, or down one side, there's blood on it. Okay then, I just need to Okay then. So that's on 12. So Bartleby and so Hengist, you're the person who's awake. So Hengist, make a perception roll now to see whether or not you hear. So you actually hear Hasra, what Hasra said at that point. So if you roll your initiative now, you will appear on the board. Yeah. So well,
decent roll from Hengist for one. His
Yeah.
max. By the way, everyone, that's his maximum.
right. So this is still the first. You will come in at the second round because remember, a round's only 6 seconds, so a lot of things are happening. So we're now going into combat round 3. Hasra at 19. This guy has no more actions left, so you'll be able to act on 12 if you've got any actions.
I do indeed, sir.
Yeah.
Hasra will again thrust his spear out. He wants to stop this man from doing what he's doing. Oh. Anyway, use a point of luck, please.
Okay. What's
First up.
would that be a critical then?
I think it. Oh no, 81 is my stance. It would be critical, yes.
Okay then. So you need 2 specials, hit location damage.
Circumvent armor is my first special.
Okay.
And my second will be choose location, which will be head.
Okay, go for it.
And 1 damage.
One done.
Do some damage for me.
Oh god, you jinxed it.
Yep.
Oh, 4.
Okay, cool. He's still up, and we're going back. We're now Hengist. You can now act as we go into round 2. Gulliver, are you awake, asleep, or what?
How far into the thing is it?
It's
A few hours.
Yeah, I mean it's probably close to midnight. It's close to midnight.
Asleep. Gulliver knows that his spells are up and that
yeah,
they're either going to get dispelled and he's going to probably realise, or they're going to go off and he's going to realise. So as far as he's concerned, everything's covered.
Okay then. So we're going to combat round 2 now. Second 6 seconds. Combat turn 1. And so the bandit goes first, and he just sort of like he seems to be ignoring the head wound. There's a gush of blood, and he just turns around and uses his fist to hit you with his first action. He hits.
I'm going to take the hit.
Okay then. So I will have a special on that, and he is going to
Trip opponent.
Whoop!
Yeah, no, I think trip opponent.
I don't know. I don't know any of the combat specials. I don't play.
Trip opponent is just a normal combat special. It's not a crit.
It's not a crit.
It's an offensive as well.
Yeah, so I will certainly do trip opponent then.
Sugar wugger.
I thought I had it in my mind that it was a crit, but
No,
it's not.
Not to my mind.
yeah. So the target must make an opposed roll of, it's up to you, brawn, evade, or acrobatics. It's completely
Acrobatics, not athletics.
acrobatics. Yeah. So brawn, evade, or acrobatics. Which one would you like to go
A
for?
brawn, please, sir.
Brawn. Go for it then. Okay then. So you succeed. Just to let you know, my attack roll was 38. No action.
What?
No, actually, you
No, it
fail.
doesn't succeed. You do.
You Hasra will fail, won't he?
Why?
Yeah.
Because you've got a dagger in your
You're
bag.
impaled, and you're also
Oh, formidable.
you're also on uneven footing.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't thinking of it, but it would definitely be a hard
It
roll
would be hard, yeah.
because of the impale.
I will use my last point of luck.
To re-roll it, yeah.
Re-roll it.
Don't fall backwards if you've got a dagger in your back.
No, that'd be awful, that, wouldn't it? Oh, but she got a 38. Well, I can't win, can I?
Only with a critical. I've been in that corner before.
Yeah, here we go.
I have.
Go for
Never
a
say
crit.
never. Never say never, Rich.
Oh, no, I can't win.
Yeah. So you
It's not over until Hasra falls off the roof.
you fall down. He sort of like he goes to hit you, and you sort of like try to move at the end out the way, and he suddenly at the last moment crouches down, continues his blow, and sort of like hooks his arm just behind your kneecap and gives it a mighty flip, and you land prone on the
Next building.
floor. Hang on, because I still need to roll. What was my other?
You need to do damage.
Damage. Okay.
Damage, yes.
Yeah. No. So location first. Ooh, you're 2. That'll be a leg.
Right leg. Yeah.
No!
Makes sense.
Oh, that's where the character, isn't it?
There you go. It won't be a huge amount of damage because it's only 1 point of damage.
All I feel is this, as I'm flying or falling back, I can feel this pressure against my leg, and it just goes. My cloth just pushes against my leg and nothing else.
Okay.
It wasn't about the damage. It was about the tactical advantage.
It
Could
was a
you?
tactical advantage.
Okay. So you're now prone on a moving on a slopey thing. So just roll for me your athletics to stay on the roof. And he sort of like he flips you up, and you sort of like land on your side, thinking, "Oh yes, no damage, my leg." And you sort of go like that, and you.
I can see my hut from here.
You slide down. Do you have any luck left?
No, I don't have any luck left. So
Okay. The only reason I was going to say, if you had any luck left, I would allow you to expend 1 point of luck to grab hold of the
No.
the thing.
Let's go for gold.
Okay,
Let's
then,
do broken legs.
So this
Forehead.
it'll just be a random hit location. Just to
The last
make-
thing he felt was his
Four.
legs go through his neck.
Left leg.
left leg.
Yep. Right.
So yeah, it's only a D6, and it only comes up as a 1. So you sort of like slide off the wall, and you try to clamber onto the guttering, and you miss that, and you sort of like go down. Your leg hits, but your armor withstands it, and you sort of like prone now, actually on the floor. And Hengist, we are at you.
So Hengist has heard Hasra shout, "Get her out of there!"
Yeah.
So that immediately arrives him. So he's going to use a free action to try and shout. He's going to shout, "Bartleby, get up!" And then he's going to be going through this door.
Okay, so you shout, Bartleby, make a perception roll, please. It will be easy because of the shout. Yeah, you hear Hasra, Hengish shout, and you open the door. What's going to be your action after you open the door?
So Hengist is running towards this the other door. Where the,
so we'll put you there for there. Gulliver, your alarm goes off at this point.
So Gulliver's asleep, and all of a sudden, I take it he'll know which alarm spell has gone off.
Yes, most definitely.
So he feels the tingling in the back of his neck as he comes awake, and he immediately wants to start casting a spell, reaching out to find both Hengist's and Bartlesby's mind. He doesn't know what time it is, so he's reaching out for both of them.
Okay.
To let them know that his alarm spell has been set off.
Okay, so just to we're going to go into combat round 3. Bartleby, you can roll your initiative, and Gulliver, you can roll your initiative, but please remember that you need to take 2 away from the combat round for fatigue, etc. And then have I got everybody on?
No, sorry, I was in the middle of doing my it's 3 rounds. I can't click on my character. Don't know whether or not it's because I'm in that building.
No, it's
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
22.
Ooh. Right.
Max.
There we go. Okay then. So this is combat round. So only 12 seconds has gone so far. That's all that's happened, and so much.
Did I manage to get a magic point back from being asleep?
No. So Gulliver, you wake up on 22. Your alarm goes back, and you immediately start casting a spell, which is going to be for how long? How long will it need?
It's going to take because I'm reaching out to 2 targets, and I put the range at 150, which should be.
That should be fine.
About. Actually, I could probably. It doesn't matter. It's going to be 3.
Okay,
so this
it's 3.
Is round 1.
Okay. So so you'll have 2 left after this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. That's brilliant. Okay. 19. 17. It's you, Hengist.
So Hengist, having crossed this, he's going to try and get in the door.
Okay.
He's not going to open it. He's going to try and push through it, batter it down.
Yeah, so you need to make a brawn roll because it's locked from the inside. So roll your brawn. Yeah, so you sort of like charge this door, and you sort of like hit it in exactly the right place. It doesn't look like this door was that secure in any case, not to take away from your battle prowess, and you sort of like hit into the door, and immediately it sort of like opens and sort of like goes to one side. The immediate thing that you see in the room is that you see 2 things. You see the Guildmistress's body on the bed, okay, and you also see that within the room there's what appears to be a light smoky vapor. It seems to be swirling, and it's obviously filled up the room. It seems to be subsiding now, but so you're not actually, you bash open the door, and that's what you see when we come back to you. Hasra, you're on 12.
Hasra he's got this dagger in his back. He's just falling off a roof. He's feeling rough.
And he's prone on the floor.
And he's prone. And he mutters to himself, "No, nobody will go to the roof."
Yeah, it's all right. Nobody saw anything, Hasra. Yes. You could say there was 10 of them. There was 15.
The tribe came down to the north. He will gingerly pick himself up. He's not going to touch the dagger in his back. He knows what to do with that in a more controlled situation.
Okay, so
no, it's not going to be a Bartleby and Hasra thing when they pull daggers out.
That would never happen.
But Bartleby sees you and goes, "Let me pull it out for you."
My turn now.
And talking about that, Bartleby, you're up.
Bartleby is going to scramble to follow after Hengist. He's not even picking up a club or his backpack or anything.
Okay, so you arrive behind the door. Hengist in the door. You can see beyond. There is light in here. Looks like she had like a evening lantern on, and you can see this smoke swirling around. And we're going straight into combat round 2. And Gulliver, this means that you have one more turn after this one.
I have a spell question.
Yeah.
Does hold fast work on daggers in backs?
I think it does, doesn't it? That would be brilliant. You could just say,
Is any item? Yes.
you know, I just had a
The rest of his
thought.
life.
It's just like I thought. I have nowhere to hang my coat. Hasra, turn around. Thank you.
Yeah,
You could sell them in the marketplace.
turn 2 of spellcasting, thank you.
Yeah. Okay then. So you've got one more turn left. Hengist 17.
So Hengist, seeing this smoke stuff in here, knowing it shouldn't really be there, he's going to take a big, deep breath,
Okay.
hold it, and then he's going to run in towards the bed.
Okay then. Now I know how long. Once a bit. Characters can hold their breath for a number of seconds equal to their endurance skill.
My endurance skill is 78.
78. So 78 seconds. So you hold your breath and in you go.
How many turns, sorry, Triggerwigger?
You have to work it out yourself.
No, it differs depending on, for example,
What actions you're doing as well.
yeah, it's halved. It's reduced to 1/5 if it starts to do strenuous activity, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, so you hold your breath and sort of like go in and go over to the prostrate woman on the bed. She seems to have kicked off most of her sheets and is just sort of like there in her night dress. Hasra, you're on 12.
Hasra's going to move to. How far can I move? Let's have a look. Where's my snap center? Okay, he will move under the bridge.
Okay, are you 2 combat round for fatigue?
I will be, yes. Do you want to take an endurance?
Yeah, just make an endurance. Remember,
And that'll be it.
hard.
Hard.
Yeah. No, you're a fit person.
I know I am. So I'm under the bridge.
Yeah, cool. Okay then. And Bartleby.
I have a question I know I've asked before about holding spells, and I never remember because all my miracles are 1 turn.
Yeah.
Would I be able to hold Cure Malady, or a Cure Malady until Hengist gets to me, since I don't have an action point next turn?
You'll still need a spell, an action to cast it.
I think the other thing is, are you aware of what's happening in the room? Are you aware of the?
Oh, that's a good point. Does it just look like incense in there?
No, you're aware of what's happening in the room. You were almost like right behind Hengist as he went in, and you know when the door bashed open, it sort of like swirled round, and it's slowly dissipating. It's slowly sort of like reducing at the moment. But to go back to the original question, you need to have an action. So you cast and hold the spell. But what we then say is that as soon as you cast it, that's when we do the exhort roll. So do you have an action now?
Yes.
So you can cast the spell but hold it.
Okay.
So you can then just cast it at a later date. The only thing to remember is that I think you can only move half movement, and anything that is quite physical can break your concentration on it.
Okay, I'm not trying to go into the room at all because I'm assuming this doesn't look like incense and smoke. Bartleby would be very
No,
fearful.
there is quite a tinge of green to it, which means that is never good. And we're coming round to combat round 3, turn 3 for anybody who's still got action points. Your spell comes off, Gulliver.
With a crit.
Yeah.
But it's that mean it? No, it doesn't affect anything on
No, it doesn't.
sorcerer spells. Bloody stupid thing.
I don't know why you rolled.
I know. I got yeah. So Gulliver is going to simultaneously seek out both Bartleby and Hengist.
No, half critical success works, but only half the magic point cost is expended.
So it was 3. So it's, let me guess, it's 2.
No, they always go down with that, don't they?
So it's 1.
Yeah.
So I get 2 back. Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Those. So he's simultaneously going to be reaching out, searching for a strong mind, thinking of Amriel, and a weaker mind, thinking of ale and women probably, and maybe enamel. Finding both Hengist and Bartleby, and he's going to say,
I'm presuming neither of you are resisting the roll. Bartleby.
No, Hengist won't. He's had it before.
Okay, cool.
and he's going to say, "It's me, Gulliver."
Just remember, this is like a free action.
And then he's going to say, "The walkway ward, quickly!"
Cool.
Can we respond at all if we spend a free action?
Say again, sorry.
Can we respond at all if we use a free action?
It's a two-way telepathic. Even send me pictures.
You're probably not used to that at the moment, so you'll probably call out loud or say something, because you won't actually have got used to thinking in your head, but you'll probably at this point on with the spell talk normally, then Gulliver could hear it. But perhaps after you've had a bit of a downtime and Gulliver's talked about it, then you'll be able to change it. But now you'll probably talk out loud. Yeah.
And out loud I'd say something like "on it."
Yeah. Okay then. So Hengist, what do you wish to do? On it. I thought you meant to be prepared that you got it, but then I realised you mean on it as in I'm stood on it. Hengist, yeah.
So Hengist has already used his free action this round, so he can't reply to Gulliver.
Please carry her out. You did so well the last time you carried
He's
something.
going to bundle her, and if he can, is it a single bed or is it a double bed?
What do
There's
you
no steps.
tell me what you wish to do?
He wants to try and pick up her and the blanket or cover or whatever it is that she's thrown off at the same time, so that she's got something to put on in a moment.
Well,
So
she's got a night dress on. She's not in the
Get a
altogether.
bit funny about that, isn't she?
Okay then, so you need to roll your brawn, but because you're trying to do two things at the same time, then it will increase your difficulty. But I'll say how. When you're just going, if you succeed, you're literally just going to swoop her up, but grab some of the sheet as well.
Yeah.
And if you fail, you don't do it at all. So off you go, hard roll. So you sort of like scoop up, and you've now got her, and you've now got this sheet. Your arms are underneath the sheet as well. Hasra, what would you like to do?
Hasra is under the bridge, and what he's doing now is he's looking left and right. He's looking upwards at the roof, the edge of the roof. He knows someone's up there, but he wants to see if they're going to come down this side or if they're going to come down the side of the building. So
Okay, yeah.
he's positioned on this pinnacle here. So
Just say hiding, Hasra.
No, I've got a knife in my back. Sure, you don't know, you're asleep.
Well, roll your perception roll.
Certainly, thank you. It's going to be a hard.
Yeah, okay then. And Bartleby.
Preparing to cure maladies when people get brought to me.
Okay. So that's the end of that combat round. Hengist, what's the plan? Is the plan to sort of like take her out the room and
Yes.
yeah? Okay then.
He wants to take her out of the room, and he wants to get as quick as he can into the downstairs of the guild house, like the common room area, because that's where the most space is.
Okay.
And the most stairs.
Just through the door.
Yeah. Okay.
Into the guild house for the moment.
So you, So tell me where's the end point that you want to take her to, and then we can decide what needs to happen.
3-4 meters into the guild house upstairs.
So you're just popping her into the corridor.
Yeah, for the moment.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what, he's running into there. He's then going to stop and think about where to put her.
Okay then. So just because you're running with her, just roll your brawn roll again, just to make sure that you keep hold of her and the sheep now that is trailing behind.
No, you stepped on the sheet.
And and you sort of like, you're pulling her, you're running along, and Bartleby, you're quickly sort of like backing up.
Bartleby stands on the sheet.
You're sort of like, no, Bartleby's done nothing wrong, and Bartleby's sort of like is backing up, and you're sort of like coming back, and the sheet gets caught in the door or something. You lurch forward, and she flops to the ground in front of you, Bartleby. What would you like to do?
Mark 2.
I'm going to ignore this mistake and immediately go to try and cleanse her of the poisons of this villainous guild, the
Go
other
for it.
guild. This guild. This is what I'm using, of course, and I'm planning on using a point of luck if I fail.
Okay, no need. A nice one. And you summon up the power of Amriel, and you focus it through the Guildmistress's body, and you sort of like see the glow of the moon, Hengist. You see this as well, and you notice that it knits together. No, it's just cure malady, isn't it? Yeah. So you just sort of like do, and you sort of like sense the poison in it. In the body, you slowly extract it and force it out, and it's totally cleansed by Amriel's magic. And then, to your horror, you suddenly realise that she's already dead. And we will leave it. We
Nothing to do with me. She's already dead when I got there.
We will leave it right there for this week. Sorry, I was 7 minutes over, but I wanted to get to that.
I want to know something. I was so hoping that it was a slow acting poison, and when Hengist went to rescue her, she actually was just asleep.
Yeah. Slap.
It was. He just dropped her.
Yeah, gets a bedpan across the sleeve.
And can I just say, Hasra, I was laughing internally so much.
when I chose 2 wrong specials. So.
No, when somebody says there's no need to be on the roof.
Oh, I know.
I was trying to save him.
Do you want to know?
Yeah, you want him falling off the roof, and he fell off the roof.
It was.
I know Hasra so well now. And I know
You
I
have
know
to be on a
Mythras
roof.
as well, and he will go against what I say. No, you don't want to be on the roof. I knew he was going to be. I want to be on the roof now.
My roof. Mine.
I'm going down the reverse psychology with Medivac.
And I just wanted you to be aware that is exactly what was written down to happen. So I didn't think, Hasra's on the roof, I'm going to change the attack. That's
what you should tell me is save your luck point for the next roll.
Yeah, well. I just realised that I had another dagger. He could have drawn it, but never mind.
I've got one.
So you're now.
Do trip opponent with his other dagger though.
But you know, if I'd have thought of opponent when I did my 2 specials, I would have been so much better off.
Yeah, I almost imagine you sort of like just going in for attack, but then
stick my leg out.
Just swinging it.
Just swinging the spear into the knee.
Yeah.
Bleed. No, sorry.
No, it's not. It's not Hengist.
Bleed's good though. We like bleed.
Okay then. So we'll pick it up next week when Hengist and Bartleby
Well, we're unemployed.
are in the corridor with the dead Guildmistress in her 90 with
With the blanket nearby.
with the sheet nearby. Yeah.
Hengist, why did you kill her?
I didn't kill her.
I know she was annoying, but why?
Hasra is hiding underneath the walkway, and Gulliver is still tapping into Hengist's and Bartleby's minds.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's on the Wi-Fi.
Just seeing the whole scene.
Because he actually can receive pictures, so he actually it's almost like he sees.
So you see exactly.
Trying to throw her off the balcony, but missing.
And you notice where
And
Hengist
then
and
Spry's face flashing again in Hengist's head.
And you notice that Bartleby is not looking down at the lady who's on the floor covered with her nightdress with a cleavage. He's very, very religious, sort of very looking away. Well,
Gulliver's like, oh my God, he's dropped another one.
okay, right. Thank you so much for that. A nice, complete. That's exactly where I wanted to get up to for tonight. So well done today. Does anybody have any messages or information that they would like to give out?
It's my birthday tomorrow.
How old are you?
21. 21.
Can I use luck, please, and re-roll?
Yes, I'm 49 tomorrow.
Well, look, let's just roll a 1d100.
Yeah, hold on. Shake me. Chop me in half and count the rings.
47.
No, 49, but thank you.
Oh, well, I was close.
That's very close.
Yeah, it was. I was
If
like,
it's your birthday, does that mean it's John's birthday as well? Did John have the same birthday as you?
No, he was the 28th of August or thereabouts, 27th of August.
that was Friday, 27th.
I thought there was somebody who had the same birthday.
No, it can't be Thursday.
No, Friday was the 30th. It was
It's not Simon.
Wednesday,
Tuesday. Yeah.
No, Simba didn't. He was earlier.
All right, okay.
Okay then, so thank you very much if you come along to watch the escapades of the Fantastic Four. I'll let them argue who is Mr. Fantastic, who's the Thing, who's a Human Torch, and who gets to be the Invisible Girl. We'll leave it like that. We will be back. Are we playing on Thursday?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So on Thursday we will be playing the module White Death, where the characters will become secret agent special ops characters in 1980. They are investigating a Russian research station on an Arctic ice floe to see what has been going on as the ice slowly melts as the ice drifts further and further out to sea. Yeah, so that will be on Thursday at 7 o'clock BST time, and we'll be back next Saturday at 7 o'clock for more Mythras. So please do come along and join us if you've enjoyed it. Until then, it's good night from me, and it's good night from them.
Good night.
Bye.
See you later.
Take me with you.
Yeah.
I can see.